Hello everyone and welcome to my B&B 724 YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video thumbs up. Will is recruited by Steffy and Finn for the Luna seduction trap. According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, John Finn Finnegan and Steffy Forrester will have a vital ally in their battle against Luna Nozawa. Luna obviously has a weakness, and that weakness is Will Spencer. Finn and Steffy will attempt to take advantage of Will throughout the week of June 23rd to 27th. Will support helping because he sees Luna as a danger to Electra Forrester and other individuals he cares about. The three of them will collaborate on taking down Luna after Steffy and Finn enlist Will in a seduction trap set by Luna. Before Will starts this plan, fans might expect to see a brainstorming session or two. Luna has expressed her interest in Will and, to be honest, now appears to be completely enamored with him. Luna apparently won't realize anything fishy is happening when Will knocks on her door with significant news. Despite Will's repeated rejections, Luna thinks she's improving and that he secretly wants her. When Will visits Luna's flat, he will effectively convince her that she is correct. Will claims that Electra doesn't excite him and discusses a supposedly fictitious breakup in the weekly preview video for B&B. Will responds that he wouldn't be there if he didn't enjoy danger when Luna asks him if he does. Before they finally lock lips, the teaser also features Luna kissing Will's neck. A makeout session might be the extent of Will's seduction attempts because it's difficult to imagine him going so far as to take Luna to bed. There will inevitably be some issues with this daring plan, but Will approach this task with confidence. When the truth is revealed and the ruse eventually falls apart, Luna will undoubtedly lose it. According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Luna will do some unexpected things in the upcoming episodes. Deacon responds to Hope's engagement after Brooke and Taylor have a catty conversation about Ridge. Brooke enters the Forrester mansion as Taylor hangs up on a client. The blonde talks about how committed she is. She has been a healer all her life. Why is she being so complimentary? Taylor wonders. Brooke clarifies that she has documents for Eric. Taylor will see to it that he receives them. I've heard you had a surprise guest. Nick Marone. You heard about Nick stopping by, Brooke thinks. Taylor claims that Ridge informed her. According to Brooke, it was unexpected. A nice one, I suppose. Taylor asks. Brooke claims that seeing him again was fantastic. He's still charming and attractive. Taylor thinks about how they've always been so close and how they have a son together. Now that she and Ridge are back together, she questions whether Nick will come after her once more. Brooke bed and breakfast. Taylor isn't shocked that Nick has now appeared. Now that she is with Ridge, it is the ideal moment for him to approach her. Someone is definitely interested in her and Nick, Brooke thinks. He may be fantastic for her, according to Taylor. B&B at Taylor Brooke. According to Brooke, Ridge feels entirely different. Taylor inquires as to what she means when she says, I suspect that you know that. Is Ridge envious of her and Nick, in her opinion? Brooke claims that after turning to Taylor so fast, he has no right to be. She claims that she can now clearly see how much Ridge values her. Taylor is hoping that Nick's homecoming will benefit her. You certainly do, snarks Brooke. Steffy's request. Steffy gives Carter a sample of Daphne's men's fragrance when they are at Forrester discussing business. It's her greatest yet, he claims. When Ridge enters, Steffy exclaims, We need her back, Carter. Her father concurs, adding that they must have Daphne back immediately. The success of the business cannot be hampered by Hope's emotions. More, will Steffy be written out asterisk like this asterisk? Carter acknowledges their dedication to achievement and inquires as to whether they have thought about reviving Hope for the future. They must support her, but are they prepared to do so in light of everything that transpired? Are they able to achieve that? They are getting ahead of themselves, Steffy believes. Personally, she finds it impossible to forget what transpired. Carter B&B. Carter laments that people believe they are alone to blame. They are attempting to move over it, but Ridge adds, You were the only ones responsible. Carter believes they can comprehend Hope's reluctance to have Daphne return. According to Steffy, they are now engaged, and Daphne won't take any action. She requests that he persuade Hope to move past the incident involving Daphne. Carter leaves after receiving a text from Hope. According to Steffy, her father appears preoccupied. "What is it about?" he declares. "Brooke." More. Nick's plans are hinted at by Wagner. Steffy is informed by Ridge that he found Brooke with Nick Marone. Thinking he caught them having sex, Steffy gulps. "Not that," answers Ridge. "I don't know. We're talking about Brooke," Steffy responds. She questions why he is so worried about Brooke's social circle. She sounds like her mother, and Ridge wonders why. He laments that Brooke's heart will be broken by Nick. He is defending her because she is weak. Steffy claims that he sounds envious. This makes Brooke very delighted. She bets. Ridge makes an effort to refute it. Steffy inquires as to what message he believes her mother is receiving from this. B&B Steffy. Hope's engagement and the Deacon's response. Deacon admires Hope's engagement ring in Illinois Giardino. He won't claim that he doesn't have problems with Carter, but it's her decision. She questions whether her father believes she is taking a risk. She is reminded by Deacon that they were having drama at Forrester not too long ago. "Hope, are you certain about this?" Hope assures her father that she is certain. She requests that Deacon cease his persistent prodding. There's nothing to be concerned about. He could use a new pizza oven, so Deacon teases how much they could get for the ring. He becomes serious and tells Hope that he is happy if she is. He is concerned, but they embrace. B&B Deacon Hope. After Deacon returns to work, Hope finds herself sitting by herself at the bar, where she remembers a humorous moment she had with her father. Deacon shows up again and inquires about their wedding arrangements. A date? Hope says not yet, but since he will be accompanying her down the aisle, he will be among the first to find out. Unless he chooses not to, given that he and Carter got into a heated argument. Deacon doesn't want to be her husband's adversary because he witnessed her suffering. He constantly has her back. Hope claims that they are more in love than ever and that they have resolved all of their issues. She hopes her collection will be revived at Forrester, where they are also collaborating. She assures him that Carter is a decent man. Despite her obvious joy, Deacon tells her that Carter kissed Daphne Rose. B&B Deacon Hope. Hope was devastated when Carter kissed Daphne, and Deacon is aware of this. You want to stop your child's pain when you witness it. Hope is asked if she would like to see Carter when he arrives. "I did," says Deacon. "I needed to vent about something involving you and my kid." Carter Hope B&B, Deacon. Behind her sleek desk at Forrester Creations, Steffi Forrester tapped her manicured French fingernails against a manila folder. Her face was impassive, but her mind was working on a scheme that would shift the balance of power back in her favor. Her husband and devoted ally, John Finnegan, leaned forward with furrowed brows across from her, his medical training clashing with the morally ambiguous seas his wife was navigating. Now, they were more than just spouses, they were partners in a plot to undo the power Luna Nozawa had started to have over them and their son, Hayes. Luna was always one step ahead of them and had slipped through their fingers far too often. She used charm, manipulation, and now obsession to gain more ground on the Forrester family. However, Steffi and Finn weren't acting alone this time. Will Spencer was a new recruit for them. The young man was back in Los Angeles, has brilliance in his eyes, strength in his name, and a strong personal interest in Luna's demise. Luna had previously targeted Electra Forrester, his longtime romantic interest and current lover. Steffi was going to take advantage of Luna's unhealthy obsession with Will in order to destroy her because her fascination with him had gone beyond a harmless crush to a deadly obsession. Instead of using weapons, they would use seduction, poison cloaked in love. Finn's initial reluctance gave way to reluctant assent as Steffi explained her strategy. Will was willing to assist. He wasn't just a helpless pawn, after all. Will believed that Luna posed a danger to the Forrester dynasty stability as well as to Electra. He was aware of Luna's tactics of playing the victim, manipulating events, and twisting stories to gain a foothold on the Forrester throne. She had beguiled Eric, courted RJ, betrayed Steffi, and worse, manipulated Hayes' affections by making presents and promises that went beyond the bounds of emotional grooming and loving stepfamily. Finn could no longer bear Luna's proximity to his son. They decided that exposing her was the only way to get rid of her for good. On paper, the plan was straightforward. Will would entice Luna, causing her to let her guard down, after which Steffy and Finn would set up their trap. They would document her admission of deceit or manipulation, or even better, they would catch her in the act of doing something that would permanently damage her reputation. Steffy, Finn, and Will had a lot of serious planning meetings. Behind closed doors in a quiet conference room in Forrester, the three of them drew scenarios, exchanged ideas, and planned conversations. Steffy cautioned Will that Luna was shrewd and unpredictable. However, Will had learned to strike a balance between shrewdness and compassion from his upbringing under the astute guidance of Bill Spencer and Katie Logan's moral compass. He was skilled at being sincere, speaking in half-truths, and keeping Luna hopeful while leading her father into the trap. Under the pretense of sadness, Will would arrive at her flat and say that Electra had broken up with him and that he had finally come to the realization that the passion he desired wasn't in his current relationship but rather with Luna. Naturally, Luna would purchase it. She had persuaded herself that Will shared her attraction, even if he had rejected her before. When Steffi's secretary found her diaries during a routine maintenance request, they contained pages of fantasies about Will, including passionate embraces, romantic dinners, and vows of love. Though reading them made Steffy nauseous, she knew they held the secret to bringing about Luna's demise. On the big day, Will knocked on Luna's flat door wearing a fitting navy shirt and pants that exuded casual confidence. With her hair disheveled from hours of pacing, she responded while wearing a silk robe. Her whole manner softened at the sight of him. "Will," she exhaled while feigning surprise. "Why are you in this place?" Will pretended to be anxious as he entered, his eyes darting about as if he were a man uncertain of what to do. His eyes were fixed on Luna's as he whispered, "Electra left me." Luna's pupils widened as she said I wasn't present, that I wasn't passionate, that I wasn't excited. However, I've always found you to be enthusiastic. Perhaps you only needed the proper person." She took a step forward. "An understanding person." Will gave a halting chuckle. "Yes, you might be correct. Perhaps I was looking at the right person the entire time." Steffy and Finn, back at the Forrester mansion, watched the action through a covert camera Will had concealed in his jacket. Finn's mouth tightened. It was functioning, almost pulsing with want. Luna drew closer to Will and muttered, "Do you enjoy risk, Will?" His response was polished, well-rehearsed, and eerily alluring. "If I didn't, I wouldn't be here." The camera captured Luna leaning in, kissing him after a low gasp escaped her voice and her lips grazing his neck. Will answered, reluctantly at first, then with enough favor to make it seem convincing. It didn't continue. Will had no intention of putting it to sleep. However, the delusion was total. Luna thought they were finally getting along. She was prepared to collapse, totally, in public, and destructively. The consequences were immediate. The following day, Will vanished. No phone calls. No messages. Heart pounding. Luna drove to Spencer Publications in search of him, only to discover Will standing next to her with a disgusted expression on his face and Electra waiting for her with ice in her veins. Luna objected, her voice shaking. "You kissed me." "You said," Will interrupted icily. "I said what you wanted to hear." Luna spun to Electra and said, "And you fell for it. You are not loved by him." Enough, Electra yelled. "You made yourself seem bad. Everyone will now know who you are because you went after my boyfriend." Cameras rolled behind them. Luna's outburst was captured on camera by Spencer's private security team, and Steffy and Finn received the video within minutes. The strategy had been successful. Ridge returned to Forrester and walked solemnly into Steffy's office. "Are you certain that this was the appropriate course of action?" he inquired. Steffy replayed the video, including Luna's frantic kiss, her unpredictable actions, and her hallucinations concerning Will. "Dad, she's dangerous." Ridge wasn't persuaded, but he didn't dispute because this was the only way to demonstrate it. He was thinking about other things, mostly Brooke. Nick, too. Even after seeing Nick Marone and Brooke together, Ridge became agitated at the mere mention of his name. Steffy grinned as he informed her that he had discovered Brooke and Nick enjoying a moment. You mean that they hadn't had sex yet? Ridge gave her a glance. I'm attempting to keep Brooke safe. Nick is working on something, Steffy said, crossing her arms. And you don't feel envious. Ridge averted his gaze. Brooke and Taylor, meanwhile, had another heated argument at the Forrester mansion. Brooke found Taylor instead of the documents he had for Eric. Taylor's smile vanished as soon as Nick's name was said. Brooke acknowledged that seeing him again had rekindled old emotions. Taylor didn't believe it. Do you believe he's coming back to get you? Taylor inquired as to whether Ridge was aware, and Brooke acknowledged he might be. His envious, Brooke said. However, he is not entitled to be. Remember how he left me for you? Brooke was cautioned by Taylor that Ridge would never fully let go. I see clearly now, sneered Brooke. Taylor didn't believe it for a second. Ridge might want to keep me safe, but Nick? Nick wants to love me. Deacon Sharp questioned Hope about her engagement to Carter at Illinois Giardino later. He couldn't forget how devastated she had been when Carter kissed Daphne, even though he supported her happiness. Despite Hope's assurance that it was behind him, Deacon's paternal instincts took over. The two guys had a polite but uncomfortable conversation until Carter arrived. Deacon cautioned Carter against making the same mistake twice. Carter said that he would not. However, Carter still carried a burden on his conscience from the back of his mind. Steffy had asked him to persuade Hope to forgive Daphne. Luna's world fell apart as all of this transpired. At Forrester, Steffy made the video available internally. After being called to Ridge's office, Luna was met with Finn, Will, and Elektra in addition to Ridge and Steffy. She attempted to excuse herself by saying she thought Will cared and that she had been duped. Steffy yelled, "You believed what you wanted to believe. You used our family, Luna," Ridge continued. "You're not welcome here anymore." Luna's eyes welled up with tears. She was exiled in addition to being dismissed. She turned to Will one last time as she left, defeated and alone herself. Was any of it authentic? Will gave her an intense gaze. Not a moment. Thus, a week of captivating drama was provided by the bold and the beautiful through a succession of intense confrontations, covert recordings, treacheries, and daring seduction traps. Steffy's strategy had succeeded. Finn was by her side. Will had shown that he was a player in the game, not merely a Spencer heir. The Forrester family felt in charge again, and Luna Nozawa had fallen. Deeper conflicts, however, arose in the shadow of this victory. Ridge became envious of Brooke and Nick's rekindled romance. Taylor didn't feel prepared to let go. Deacon was worried about Hope. There were doubts about Carter's loyalty. Luna, too? She had not finished yet. Because a new fire was burning beneath those broken eyes and crushed pride, a yearning for vengeance that would make the seduction trap seem like a piece of cake. They had cornered Luna. However, the prey with nothing left to lose is the most dangerous. As Steffy Forrester and John Finnegan discussed the most recent developments in their ongoing battle against Luna Nozawa, who had not only caused turmoil in their personal lives but had also grown to be a very unnerving presence around Hayes Finnegan and Elektra Forrester, the tension at the Cliff House was electric. Steffy's intuition and Finn's mounting unease weren't the only things that needed to be addressed. Luna's behavior had gone too far. Even the most experienced Forrester strategists were taken aback by the crazy and desperate plan that emerged during the week of June 23rd to 27th, enlist Will Spencer, the now-grown, self-assured, cunning young man who had established himself as a formidable force, to woo Luna and reveal her intentions. This plot, known as the Luna Seduction Trap, would show how far Steffy and Finn were prepared to go to protect their family and how far Luna's own compulsive impulses could lead her to self-destruction, despite the fact that it was contentious and morally difficult. After returning from Europe, Will was older, wiser, and bitter against Luna for controlling those close to him, especially Elektra, Thomas Forrester's daughter and a budding fashion designer in her own right. Will was aware that Luna was a crafty, tenacious, and dangerously focused individual rather than merely a lovesick lady seeking love. Steffy had objected when Finn first proposed the idea, but as she gave it more thought, she came to the conclusion that Luna's obsession with Will might be the only thing holding her in. For his part, Will didn't need much persuasion. He had always viewed himself as the guardian of the weak, and he was resolved to take action since Luna's games were causing Electra to become even more emotionally isolated. Away from prying eyes, Steffy and Finn's home office hosted the first brainstorming session late at night. Will showed in wearing a smart black suit and was charming and intelligent. Finn described Luna's recent actions, including her erratic hospital visits under false pretenses, her fixation on Hayes, and her covert threats against Steffy. Will narrowed his eyes as he listened. This became more than simply a goal to him. It became personal. They went over Luna's increasingly possessive comments about Will in her vulnerable times with other people, followed by an examination of her cryptic and manipulative text messages to Electra. Steffy stated bluntly and icily, "She wants you, Will. She has been following you around like a hawk." The strategy was surprisingly straightforward. Will would trick Luna into believing he felt the same way about her, luring her into a sexual relationship that might later be revealed. It's time we give her what she wants, and let her trap herself in the process. In addition to exposing Luna's true intentions, they hoped that this would destabilize her sufficiently to permanently remove her from their lives. Will was to exercise caution, sexy yet unreadable, charismatic but emotionally aloof. It would be a psychological trap rather than a physical one. Finn explained, "We're not asking you to sleep with her. Simply approach her till she begins to reveal herself. Then we reveal everything."